So by now you've completed the Mary Shelley chronology activity, and now we're going to move into actually working with the book a little bit. And Mary Shelley opens this novel, as I explained in some of the opening notes and lectures, with a series of letters between a Captain Walton, who is stuck aboard a ship in the Arctic, that he is writing these letters to his sister, Margaret Seville. Somewhere during the course of writing the letters, he's going to encounter the figure of Victor Frankenstein. And then Victor, who's very ill at this point because of chasing his creature throughout, time and space, he begins to tell him his story. And so what Captain Walton becomes is the vehicle that we have knowledge of this story. Otherwise, it kind of dies with Frankenstein. So Shelley had to create some method for having the story to be told, and she chooses this third narrator, a guy named Captain Walton. So what you're going to do with this activity, and you may work with a partner on it, is I want you to look at the letters of Captain Walton, okay, and answer. These are not questions as much as they are statements. I want you to find the information within the letters that would help make the answer to these things complete, okay? So to kind of help you in this method, and I think it's going to be helpful, you may have your own hard copy of Frankenstein, but because I'm going to be asking you to find specific references, it may be helpful to have an electronic version of it. And so I've given you a link to a site where they've taken the 1831 edition of this, and you'll see this on the screen in a second. There you go, contents of the 1831 edition. And it's been placed into this document. You can just click on like letter 1. And what you'll see, what I like about this version of it, unlike a hard copy book, is it does have annotations, so that if you get lost or you feel yourself like, I'm not sure what she's saying here, you can click one of these hyperlinks and it will take you to further information about it. It's also numbered the paragraphs, which is going to be helpful for us as we begin pulling evidence and working with our major activity on this, something called a recursion. So what you're going to do is there are basically 4 letters in a 5th set of journals, so 5 pieces to this. And you and your partner are going to go through these letters, read them obviously, of course, and then take the time to go back in and see, as you read it, find the letter that gives you information about Walton's family history. What can you say about that? And what I'd like you to do is, as you find specific text information, I want you to write that information down if it's a quotation. Okay, we're going to use our MLA format, but this time what's going to be different from what we practiced last semester, I want you to use the author's last name, Shelley, and I want you to designate the letter, okay, by a Roman numeral, a dash, and then the paragraph number, okay? And that will be where you found your information. So let's look at that a little more cleanly. So you're answering the question about Captain Walton's family history. You find a nice quote in letter number 1 where he talks about his background. So you're going to, write out your quote. Don't put your period, but at the end of that quote as you're writing, okay, you're going to close the quote, put a parentheses, put Mary Shelley's name, and then put what's going to be the letter that it comes from, letter 1, and then a dash, and then identify the paragraph where that comes from, and close it off with a parenthetical and then a period to close it. All right, so this will be our format that we use for identifying sources from this work. All right, an additional thing, because there are 8 topics, you probably want to divide this work up in half. You can work together. They are not necessarily in sequential order. So it might be, look, I'll read the first 2 letters, you read the last 2, we'll read the final one together. Then as you find the information, you can fill that in. I would share a document, a Google Doc. That's ultimately what you'll be submitting to me.